Hi, my Stampin' friends. Today I want to show you how to make a fun pop-up card. Now you can use any Stamps and Designer Series papers that you have. I'm going to use Terrific Toadstools. This is a new one in the Spring Mini Catalog, but the template that I'm going to show you how to make is interchangeable with any theme. I'm using it because when I saw this popping up to say hi, it made me think of a pop-up. It's a little obvious, but you can do this. I have some older cards on my blog that are pop-ups, and I have one that's an alien that pops up from space, and then I have another one, I think it's popping up from behind a planet, and then I've got another one that's a birthday one, and the front is like a cake or a slice of cake or something, and then what pops up are balloons. So you can really go crazy thinking of what's going to pop up, and for this one we're going to pop up some mushrooms. So here we go. Here's the card. I did it two different versions because I take part in a demonstrator swap where we come up with ideas and we swap them with each other so that when we do classes we don't have to come up with every single class card all on our own. So it's really a nice little swap we do at the beginning of every catalog season, and I decided to do, this was one of my cards for the swap. I did this one actually for the swap because this paper is limited time only. I'm going to show it to you today, but it's only available for January and February, and then it'll be gone. So I didn't want to use it for the swap because I wanted them to be able to use the card as a display throughout the entire mini catalog season. So this card we'll do together though with this because it's just too cute. This mushroom paper is really fun, and the card is really fun. See that little popping up to say hi, and the little mushroom pops up. And on the back I've got a little area where you can write, and then look, hi. So it's just a little fun card. I really enjoyed making it, and like I said, you can use any papers that you have, change out your stamps, see what you've got on hand. I love this color palette here. This is Pretty Peacock, Berry Burst, and Lost Lagoon, and this one is Melon Mambo, Pumpkin Pie, and Granny Apple Green. So anyway, hi. A little high. Okay, so let's make this card. It's really simple, and that's why it's kind of a good one to know how to make, because you can throw this together pretty quickly. So I'm going to show you how to do this. We are going to cut a piece. You need one piece of cardstock for the base of this card, and then how you decorate it from there, you can go crazy. I'm going to use Melon Mambo. This is how I store my scraps, and I like doing it this way because I can use these whenever I need little pieces and stuff. So anyway, thought I'd show you that. Okay, so here's how you should cut your paper. Now you need two pieces that are 8.5 by 4 1/4, but they're both going to get scored the same. So it's actually nice to do it at the same time. So I'm going to flip this around so you can see the measurements. I'm going to make an 8.5 inch square. So I'm going to move that to my 8.5 and cut. Okay, and now I'm going to score them. I didn't need to turn that. It's a square. So why did I turn that? Isn't that funny how our brain works? Okay, it's a square. So you're going to score at 1.5. And the scoring blade is the lighter one. So let me move the cutting blade out of the way. I'm going to score at 1.5, and then I'm going to score at 3. Okay, now I do need to turn, because now I need to cut this in half so that I've got two pieces at 4 1/4 by 8.5. So I'm going to cut that at the 4 1/4. This is the scoring blade, so now I need to slice it. There we go. Now I need to change my blades, and I do have some on order, but I don't have them here today. I kept meaning to put them on an order, and then, you know, it's like, it's not a fun thing to order, so I keep putting it off, and then now I really do need them. So I'm just sanding off. If you ever get flyaways, a little sanding block kind of helps get those flyaway fuzzy edges gone. So I'm going to do that. Okay, now on that little piece that's left over of our paper, we do need another piece. This is going to be 3 by 1.5. So that 3 and 1.5 comes up a lot, which I also like because it's easy to remember. Like, I don't even really need to consult my notes very often with this one unless I haven't done one in a really long time. Okay, now on this piece we have to make one score. So what we need to do is measure at 1.5 away from the end. So I'm going to put it there, but we're just going to make a mark with a pencil or something. So I'm going to make a mark at that 1.5, like that. And then, let me see, I'm going to check my camera to make sure you can see that because it might be too high. Okay, so then you're going to take that little pencil mark and leave it in the groove, and then put the other corner, the opposite corner, in the groove, and we're going to score. So I'm going to remove that cutting blade and come down and score. Now when you're coming up on a corner like that, sometimes it's nice to start from the other side because that little corner can sometimes kind of wrinkle in because it's such a fine little tip there. So I'm going to start from this side and score. Okay, so now I've got this angle right here. I'm going to fold it so you can see. So that is the score. This is the mechanism that pops up. That's it. How simple is that? Okay. Now, these are the same, but when we cut them, so we've got our scores here. I'm going to fold them so you can see. We've got, those were our scores, and we did 2 of those. We cut it in half, but one is going to go this way and one is going to go that way, like so. Now this very template, just like this, when we put it together, it's going to end up like this, which leaves it hollow here. This would also be a cute little, let's say if you wanted to do a card that had a window, you can cut a window in here and it's like a little frame. So it's a fun little idea that you can use for multiple things, but we're going to use it for a pop-up today. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and decorate this so that I've got it all together, and it's easier to decorate when they're flat before you've put it together. So that's what I'm going to do, and I've already cut things. So I wanted to make this as simple as possible because I know you really want to see how to put this together. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp. Now, how I'm decorating mine, I kind of like to do a lot of layers. You don't have to do quite as many layers. That's up to you. So I cut pumpkin pie. I went with the papers that are, or the colors that are in my paper. And whenever you buy paper packs, at least from Stampin' Up anyway, maybe other companies as well, it tells you the colors that are used in the patterns on the back. So that's a really nice way to figure out your coordinating colors. So I'm going to go ahead and lay these down, and I cut 2 at 4 by 5 1/4. And then I've got 4 by 1 1/4 inch, and I made 4 of those. And then I did some designer paper, so that is another, I kind of keep going down in 1/4 inches. So if this was 4 by 1 1/4, this is 3 1/4 by 1. And then I did 1 in white, so I only needed 3 patterns, and 1 is white because that's going to be where we're going to write our popping up to say hi. And then I've got a piece of designer series paper, so this is 1/4 inch smaller as well. So this is 5 by 3 1/4. And then I cut a piece of white for the back because I want people to be able to have a space to write. So, and then I wanted to stamp on something also white. So I cut myself, and actually this is backwards. Oops. There we go. I wanted my greeting on this side. It doesn't matter. You can have your greeting on the left or the right. It doesn't really matter, but I wanted it on this side. I think I've done it both different ways many times. So, okay, there we go. Those are all our pieces. So anything that doesn't require stamping, I'm going to glue down really quick, and I'll do that on fast forward because you don't want to watch me glue. But anything that requires stamping, I never glue down, because if you make a mistake, then you're kind of in trouble. And you can always flip over and use the other side if you make a mistake. Okay, I've got my pieces on there. I don't know if you noticed in the fast forward that at one point I glued down this piece. I couldn't decide if I wanted to use the pattern with the mushrooms or the other side with the melon mambo, but I ended up with the mushrooms because they're adorable and I love that little bug. And I accidentally put it on upside down. When you're using a directional paper like this, kind of try to keep in mind what side is up, what side's down, because I didn't want my mushrooms to be upside down when I put it together. So I knew that when I put it together, I had this the other way. Anyway, that's why I turned that over. Okay, let's do our stamping. So for this one, all I want is the words, and I'm going to stamp those in Granny Apple Green, and they say popping up to say hi. Now, you don't have to have a stamp that says poppin'. So if you have a birthday stamp, you can just put happy birthday on here and have balloons. You know, you don't, it just worked out for this particular this particular one. And with that granny apple green out, I think I will go ahead and do my little grassy area. This could be a dirt area, grassy area. You could probably even use this as a cloud, this stamp. It's kind of fun. Okay. I think that's all I wanted. Oh no, I have a little leaf I wanted to use because it kind of goes with these leaves, and I wanted to use that. But I'm going to stamp off once before I put that down. And it's just in the background behind the mushrooms. I think I'll do 2. Oop, that's okay. My mushroom's going to cover that. Okay, so that's my granny apple green. Now for my stems on my mushrooms, I'm using crumb cake. You can use like a pebble path or whatever kind of grayish brown you have. Gray granite would be good. Oh, I almost did that. I also wanted little baby ones on either side of this popping up. There. Okay, so I've got the little baby mushroom. Oh, and I do want a little baby mushroom on the back too. But I'm going to put the big one down first. So while I've got crumb cake out, it's funny, when I get a new stamp set, I try to use like every stamp in the box. So I'm using all the different mushrooms. Let's put this one down, and then I think I'll do a baby one right there. Okay, so I think that's it for crumb cake. And oh no, I have one more crumb cake. All right, there's this stamp set. This one makes 3 stems in one, or you could use it for other things, but I am going to only ink up, I wanted it to be shorter, so I pressed it hanging off the pad so that the bottom of the stamp doesn't get ink on it. Hope you can see that, and that way I can make it shorter. There. Okay. Now that's it for crumb cake, I believe. I could be wrong. All right, now I wanted to add the little tops to the mushrooms. I think that's really cute. You know, I also think you could use this as an accent on the little bug body too, if you wanted to. All right, so let me do that. I'm going to do Melon Mambo for the speckled ones, just because I'm thinking Alice in Wonderland. There we go. All right. I think I do need another mushroom in that one. I think we got all of our, oh no, I need to do the tops on these 2. Okay, so we've got options for mushroom tops. See how this one has 3? So I'm going to use the 3, but I didn't have a color necessarily that I wanted to use, and I decided that it was going to be more of an earthy mushroom. Actually, maybe fresh freesia. Yep, let's do fresh freesia. I'm going to put fresh freesia on these little guys because I didn't bring any of that in yet. Okay, so let's put fresh freesia down. There. All right, so those are the ones that are stamped straight down. And then we have some that are going to be stamped and then punched out because there's a matching punch. So I'm going to do some early espresso stems, and I found this piece of strip in my scrap bin. And if you use this punch, or a lot of your punches, your builder punches, they are a great way to use up scraps. You probably already know that. So, and see how like there's 3 images on here. So if you put it on a strip, you can go ahead and throw it in here without wasting, like if I had used a regular piece of white, it's really hard to line up and stamp and punch all at the same time. So if you use up your scraps, and I always have these little scraps of various sizes hanging about anyway, so rather than try to stamp them all perfect, it's so much easier to just use up my scraps in this way. I do want to point out that this particular punch, you know how usually when you punch out an image, there's a thin, or even die cuts, there's that thin white outline around the image, really skinny, thin white outline. This punch doesn't do that. It actually cuts slightly inside the colored image. Isn't that interesting? So I thought that was kind of cool. I wanted to point that out. Let's see if I have any other size strips laying around. Here it is. I was using this scrap earlier. Okay, so now I want my bigger mushroom. So I have to clean this one. Here's the one I want to do in Melon Mambo. I can't decide what I want to do back here. I have to go clean my pumpkin pie one though. I got it dirty somehow. I will be right back. Pause. Okay, this one I want to do in pumpkin pie. All right. So let's punch those out. Okay. There's my pieces. Okay, so like I said, we've got these. Now I want these to be popped up, so I'm going to stick those down with dimensionals. And so let's put some dimensionals on there. And here, they're really skinny, and so you can use your little mini dimensionals, but I like to go in and use the sides of these sometimes rather than, that's just kind of what I like to do with those little weird edges on my dimensionals. So tiny. Okay. So I'm going to stick this one down first. Okay. So he's going to go here. I'm going to put this one a little lower. Okay. And then, now the mushrooms, you'll notice that they're kind of looking inside. So I'm going to put the stem on top. See, like that. Because we're actually looking at the underside of the mushroom. And the reason why I only put a dimensional on this side is because I'm going to overlap this mushroom. So it's going to come down like this. And I like to tilt them slightly. Okay, and then behind there, you could just put a little dab of glue so that they don't move. That was too big of a dab of glue. Or you can grab a glue dot. That'll be all right. I'm going to set this aside. And then let's finish up this one. I forgot to put a top on him. And since this stamp hasn't been used yet and there isn't a punch for it, I think I'll use him. Although he's kind of small, but he's kind of funky. He's a funky little guy. All right, I'm gonna do this guy. Does he have ink on him? He's got Melon Mambo on him, so I'm gonna use Melon Mambo. Okay, so that's my back, that's my side, and there is my, oh, I forgot. Okay, so now how I was saying I have all these sides and I kind of overdo my embellishments. I also did the same thing with the pop-up portion, so let's do that. I've got these little squares are 1 1/4 by 1 1/4 square, and then I meant to cut 2 little tiny squares. I thought I did actually, but maybe not. Tiny little 1-inch squares. I need 2 of those, so I'm gonna cut these. Okay, so this is going to be behind my pop-up. Now on this one, I do want to say it is important to, because this is on the pop-up that goes up and down, I made a few of these for my swap, and then as I tested them before I send them off, a lot of the pop-up got caught because I didn't fully glue down these squares. So sometimes I just throw like a little quick line across the back when I glue stuff down, but on this one you really want to make sure that all those corners are down. So yeah, sometimes I may see that I just kind of go boop and a little bit, because a little bit of glue is really all you need. But for this one, do kind of go close to the edge, because you do not want these corners coming up on you. So there we go. And so for this, you are going to also need a stem. So let me get that early espresso out again. And yes, I should have probably stamped it before, because see, I have it up there, but that's going to get covered anyway, because I am going to add a mushroom top. Got a little scrap here. There we go. Now this one doesn't have a punch, just these two do. So I am going to have to cut this out. Luckily, it's a very simple shape, but you know how I was saying how normally when a punch, they don't have the little white line? And this punch, see, there's no white line. Hopefully you know what I'm talking about. Tell me if you know what I'm talking about. So actually, I normally give myself a little white line when I cut these out, but I'm going to try to actually not, because I want it to match the other way the mushrooms are. So you don't even have to be perfect, because no one's going to know, because there's not going to be that white outline. All right, I think I did that pretty good. And this is going to get stuck down right there. And this part doesn't catch, so don't worry about this hanging over the top, and I'll show you why when we put it together. Okay. The only other thing I did before we assemble is I cut out the word hi, because it says popping up to say hi. You don't have to do this. If you're doing birthdays, obviously you can put another balloon or a cake or something on the back, cupcake. All right, so I'm using these little mini alphabets, and what I love about them is that the H and the I are next to each other. That's like hi is right there. So I'm using Melon Mambo, and I actually grabbed some adhesive paper so that you know how you can stick this on the back, and I had some already on the back, and now I can't find my little strip. I had everything set out for this. Oh, here it is on the floor. All right, my cat was probably in here. Okay, so on the back I have adhesive paper. You can get this at Stampin' Up or other places, and I love the Stampin' Up one, but I'm using some old ones that say Sizzix on them because I'm trying to use them up. Stampin' Up used to sell that kind. Now they have their own proprietary. All right, so I just place this. I don't want to get all my letters. You can cut them all out and eventually just kind of put these in a little bin, and you'll end up with a big collection of letters, and I've done that too. But I just want the hi, and they're right next to each other, so why not just do those? And so I'm going to run this through my die cut machine. It'll just take me a second. I'm going to come back. I'm not going to show you how to do that. Okay, so if you're using pattern paper for your letters, just remember what side's going to be up. You want the pattern that you are going to see to be down, so you want to put it down. So I want the sticky paper, and actually these letters are pretty symmetrical. If I did it wrong, it probably would have been okay. But some letters, you know, like your R or your has to be facing the correct way. Hi doesn't really, so I kind of got, that's an easy one. Okay, so this adhesive paper has a backing, and you're just going to peel it off. You can use your fingernail or take your pick tool. And then what's nice is now the whole thing is like a sticker, and then I know my corners aren't going to catch, so I love that on the pop-up. Okay, now we're going to assemble. Those of you who fast forwarded through all my stamping, here we go. We're going to assemble in 2 seconds once I get this off. Okay, those are our pieces. All right, so I like to put these down. Well, actually, I'm not going to put this down because, again, I'm afraid of the upside down. Did I do it again upside down? We'll see. Okay, here's what we're going to do. So this is our front, and that's the one that the mechanism is going to go on. All right, and then you have to flip it over, remembering which is the top. So this is our top. We're going to flip it over. This is our top. And then you're going to glue it down as if it was going straight across. It's not going to go that way, but we're going to glue it down as if it is. So you're going to put glue on this triangle, and only that triangle, and you're going to glue it down in between those score lines. See those score lines? So I'm making sure I don't hang over the score line. I'm going in between the score line. I'll fold it up so you can see. There's the score. So it's kind of going in the valley. Now, if you are making a different pattern, not the toadstools or whatever, this can actually be longer. It can come over here if you want a higher pop-up. It's just because it's going to go back in here once we close it. So this can be longer if you want it, depending upon, like maybe you're going to pop up a giraffe or something. I don't know. Hey, and by the way, while I've got you, if you do make a pop-up, I'd love to see it. So I have a Facebook group called Beth's Paper Cuts Idea Sharing Group on Facebook. And if you make a card with this template, I would love to see it, and we would all love to see it. So please share it with us on the Facebook page. Just log into that page, join us, and show us what pop-up you did. So if you make a giraffe, I want to see it. Dinosaur, whatever. I just got a new dinosaur stamp set, so dinosaur would be cute. Okay. There. And this can be skinnier. It just has to be able to fit in this fold. So you can kind of play around with that. All right, now we are going to put the two sides together. And here it's important that you only put glue on this outside flap. So you're going to add your adhesive. And liquid glue is great for this. I usually, I like the tear and tape, but I like that the liquid glue gives me a couple seconds that I can shimmy. And because I want these to line up perfectly, shimmying might be needed. So I'm using liquid glue. So I put it on those two outside flaps. I don't want to glue this in, so I'm going to close this, because you can't have glue touch that. And then I'm going to line up these two and glue them together. So it's hard to show you on film. Like normally I would just hold this up to my eyes, but then you wouldn't be able to see what I'm doing. So I'm laying these down together, and then that liquid glue lets me kind of make sure that I put my hands on the side to make sure that I've lined them up. And then this side has the liquid glue, and I'm going to go like this. If you made a longer arm, make sure that you don't accidentally glue it in there. And then I'm going to press. And there, look, I've got a pop-up. How nice is that? And now you're just adding that little mushroom. Again, you want to make sure that the corners that are going to be right there don't catch. So I am going all the way to the corner to make sure that I don't accidentally. But the side where the mushroom is, this side, that's kind of going to go behind, so it's not going to catch. It's actually this back corner that catches. So for this high, I'm going to make sure I go all the way as close as I can get. I don't want it to come oozing out, but I'm going to go all the way to the edge and put down that high. And then while I've got this open correctly, I'm going to make sure I don't put this upside down. And this fits in a standard envelope. So I love pop-ups. I love any card that fits in a standard envelope that I don't have to go and fuss with. All right, now the only thing I added is some little sequins that I thought were fun. I love these little bugs. Got little bug trinkets. There used to be some fun ones, or there's some sequins, or you can add a ribbon. If you're watching this in the month of January or February, Celebration is going on, and that means there's like free with purchase stuff going on, which is where this paper is from, free with a $60 purchase. This ribbon is also from that. This is fresh freesia ribbon, which matches these mushrooms and some of the flowers in the background. So I wanted to use that. And there's sequins in part of Celebration too, which are coming. I don't have them yet. I have some other older sequins that I'll put down just to give some bling and sparkle. And actually these are on the clearance area, so they are perfect for this paper, I will say, because look, you've got kind of an orange tone. I don't know if you can see it because it's so shimmery, and a pink and a green, and then this is kind of just like a golden. So it's perfect for this card. I'm gonna throw a couple down just for fun. Let's put down a green one. Just a little sparkle. And then I've got my card. Make sure everything's tight so that it pops up nicely. Okay, there you go. Popping up to say hi, and then look at the back. Hi. And here's what I'm talking about, that catch. So actually it didn't catch. This one does not catch, so that's good. You want it, this is the corner right there that's going to catch if they're going to catch. So see, I can make it catch. Pop that down, and there you go. So popping up to say hi. I think it's super fun. I do want to show you this one again because I like this color variety, and this paper is still available too. It's called Painted Lavender, and these are the back sides that don't have any lavender on it, but I loved this leaf, which matches kind of the stamp, I thought, pretty well, and I love these colors. So that is is why I did this one. That's Berry Burst, Pretty Peacock, and Lost Lagoon. And then here we've got Pumpkin Pie, Melon Mambo, and then the paper. So that's it. I hope that you like. I hope that you will give this a try because it's actually a pretty simple design. So if you do, please share it with me, and I would love to see it. Thanks so much for watching. I'll put links to these items in the video description.